Take it from me, a bona fide film lover, DC's film scene is super underrated. And we've got the DC Environmental Film Festival coming up March 19th through 28th at venues across the DMV. The lineup includes over 50 programs, including many free ones. This year's theme is Against the Current, dedicated to amplifying the unwavering voices of those who press on in defense of our planet, even in the face of significant challenges. Catch the Leonardo DiCaprio-produced Yanuni, which follows an indigenous chief from the Brazilian Amazon who survived 6 assassination attempts to become Brazil's first Secretary of Indigenous Rights, the DC premiere of the Sundance Award winner Nuisance Bear, and several family-friendly picks like The Last Whale Singer. Learn more and get tickets at dceff.org. That's dceff.org. Today on CityCast DC. Here in DC, the nice spring weather is right around the corner. And you know what else is right around the corner from DC? Delaware. Okay, you may not think it, but this tiny state offers some of the best hidden gems for a charming getaway. Tim Ebner's got your guide to the best Delaware trips for around $150. Today is Tuesday, March 17th. I'm Bridget Todd, and here's what DC is talking about. Tim, nice to see you as always. I am recording with my window open, so if you hear any noise, that's what's going on, because it does feel like spring has kind of sprung a little bit in DC today.
Yes, happy almost spring, maybe. I think we might be in the false spring phase, though, still. I think they're calling for colder weather soon, which I'm not excited about.
I didn't want to say anything and pour cold water on this, but I have also seen the same thing. Full spring.
Window open for now.
Yes, for now. But it does make me think about warming weather, and something about that just screams travel to me. Are you a big springtime trip kind of person?
Yes, I love the spring season for so many reasons. Obviously, we've gotten through a pretty tough winter with all of the cold weather and snow and ice. So I think a lot of folks are looking for ways to get outside, to get away, and to go on some travel. So we've put together some good opportunities that I think come in at a budget conscious $150 per person or less. Recognizing that travel can be quite expensive, especially right now, as there's rising fuel costs, as there's rising costs generally. I think one of the easiest ways you can save on your travel costs is by traveling locally. And one of the places I love to go, especially this time of year, is in Delaware, which obviously is one of our tinier states, but I think has a lot of opportunities for people, whether you're like someone who wants to be at the beach, someone who wants to be, in nature hiking, or someone who prefers more of a city vibe. There's definitely a lot to offer in this small state. And it's a great time to save some money and travel locally to Delaware.
Yeah, people might be surprised at all that Delaware has to offer. I have a friend who's from Delaware, and when we first met and he told me he's from Delaware, I said, "Oh, the smallest state." And he said, "Nope, second smallest. We don't even have that."
Yep. Well, it's the first state, I think, in America, which is historically relevant as we celebrate the 250th anniversary of America. And Delaware is super accessible from the DC area. We're talking about, if you're using the Amtrak rail system, you can find rail tickets round trip as low as $20 per person. Also, a lot of the destinations towards the beach will start to have routine bus service from places like DuPont Circle as we get closer to Memorial Day weekend and through the summer months. So it is a great option from this area if you're trying to get away from the city and you want to find alternative modes of transportation. There's also that to benefit you here.
Yes, if you get those Amtrak tickets early, you can really find a deal. So you don't even have to drive. What are some of your favorite things to check out in the Delaware area?
Yeah, and right now, there are a lot of deals to be had, especially for Amtrak. I just did a search, and for Wilmington, Delaware, which is obviously the biggest city in Delaware, I saw rates as low as $10 one way on Amtrak, which is pretty much as low as it gets. So if you were to do a trip soon, either in March or April, you could easily hop on the Amtrak during the week or on a weekend, get a pretty low rate, and get yourself right into the middle of the city of Wilmington. Wilmington is definitely a city that I think is highly underrated for an East Coast city. I think people tend to gravitate towards Philadelphia, towards New York City, towards Boston when they talk about regional travel in the Northeast rail system. But Wilmington has a lot to offer in terms of a food city with a lot of amazing culture, museums, as well as outdoor activities. And I recently was there for a trip. We stayed at a very awesome hotel called the Coin Hotel. It's a very small luxury boutique property, but really designed where you could spend the entire weekend just inside of that hotel, not even leaving the lobby. And you could do all of this amazing dining. You can visit a speakeasy bar. You could also go up to the rooftop and be at a fire pit. So it's kind of one of these things where you could be lazy and stay in the hotel the whole weekend. Or if you wanted to, you could get out and about, explore the Wilmington area, which has an incredible waterfront, has an incredible riverfront with the Delaware River, also very adjacent to some great parks and recreation. So one of these places that I think should be on travelers' radars here locally. And I think a lot of people have in the past maybe written off Wilmington as one of those smaller secondary cities, but it really is growing in population and development and restaurants and just incredible culture there too.
I've actually gotten a drink at that hotel, and it really does feel kind of bougie on a budget. There's so much to do just right in the space. And so I imagine staying there, as you said, you can sort of be lazy, just kick it at the hotel, and that feels like you're in a different city, even though it's just Wilmington, Delaware, or get out and about and see the sights.
Yes. And, it is on sale right now. So for the months of March and April, rates at the Coin Hotel start as low as $219 per room. Now, I realize that's above our $150 budget, but if you factor in like a trip for you and a significant other, that's going to come with the rail fare included to about $120 per person. So really budget conscious. And you mentioned that bar, the Simmer Down is what it's called. It's this basement speakeasy. It's actually in the bank vault. A lot of nights they have live music, so you can sit, enjoy one of your cocktails of choice in the money room, what they call it. But it's really this dark, moody vibe with a hand-painted mural on the wall, this original brick exposed, architecture. And I think it's just a perfect environment to like get away and feel like you're someplace else. The other great thing is their morning breakfast is served upstairs in the lobby, which you can also work remotely from if you want to do a little bit of work on your trip. Some people blend work and travel together. But it's also a great place just for mingling, having a nice, they have wood-fired dishes, like kind of Northern Italian cuisine. So you could get your seafood, your steaks, like your pastas. And it's just an awesome place, I think, to sit and enjoy what is really an all like kind of included hotel where it thinks of all the great perks. There's even some bike share rentals you could do to explore Wilmington as well. So really, there's plenty of opportunities here. But probably my favorite side quest, if you're going to stay in Wilmington, you're going to go up there for the weekend, especially because it's the springtime, is you should plan on going over to Longwood Gardens, which is actually in Pennsylvania. It's right across the border from Wilmington, Delaware. So it's really only like a 15-minute Uber if we're talking about drive time. But Longwood is just this incredibly expansive, massive outdoor botanical garden. It has proper English gardens, but it also has one of the largest tulip displays in the country and I believe the world. So, you don't have to go to Amsterdam to see all those tulips. You could actually do that at Longwood Gardens here on the East Coast. And, the timing for all those blooms obviously coincides with the warmer spring weather here. There's also the cherry blossoms, so you don't have to, tough out the crowds down at the tidal basin necessarily. So you definitely want to keep a peek on their bloom cycles when it comes to the tulips and the cherry blossoms and all the other flowering trees. But it's an awesome side quest. If you're thinking about getting up to Wilmington, I would highly suggest that for the spring season.
Yes, I actually have a gift card to the gardens. Literally, my mother-in-law went and she enjoyed it so much. She was like, I have to get her a gift card. And the way that she described it was, even my husband enjoyed it, right? Like even my like husband who doesn't like much really had a good time. That's how she described it.
And a word of caution when you go, and maybe you'll use that gift card there, but the museum gift shop is incredible. If you're a plant lover and you dabble in succulents or indoor house plants, or you want some bulbs for your garden, like this is the place to splurge. It has so much incredible gardening tools and plants that you could purchase and take home with you as a real souvenir. So Longwood Gardens, incredible place. They obviously have year-round exhibits too, with some of the greenhouses and conservatories that are on property. It's one of these places where you'll visit once and you'll say, okay, I visited maybe a quarter of the property, and you'll have to come back again and again to see it again.
Don't miss Folger Theater's As You Like It, playing now through April 12th at the Folger Shakespeare Library. Envisioned by artistic director Karen Ann Daniels and directed by Timothy Douglas, this production of Shakespeare's comedy offers a love note to D.C., imbuing the Forest of Arden with the familiar vibes, culture, and characters that mark the district as a resilient and redemptive place of belonging. Featuring choreography from Tony Thomas of Folger Theater's Helen Hayes Award-winning production of Metamorphoses, and original music by Grammy Award nominee Kokai, don't miss this take on Shakespeare's playful and musical comedy. Tickets start at $20 and can be purchased online at folger.edu or by phone at 202-544-7077. Get yours today.
Life can change faster than DC seasons. One moment, everything feels normal, and next, your world is turned upside down. So don't let someone else's mistake ruin your spring. Call the team you can count on. NACE Law Group has been standing up for DC families for decades, fighting for neighbors hurt by medical malpractice, wrongful death, and serious injuries. They don't just settle quickly or push papers. They dig in, fight hard, and make sure every client gets the justice they deserve. And here is something that I love. They are a longtime supporter of CityCast, because just like us, they really care about this community and the folks who call it home. So if you or someone that you care about has been hurt, don't wait. Call NACE Law Group. They'll stand with you, fight for your family, and make sure your rights are protected so that you can focus on what matters most. I should take a step back and ask, how are you categorizing this list of sort of cheap destinations? What should folks know about how this list came together?
Yeah, I tried to give something for everyone on this list. Obviously, there are people who travel to get outdoors in the spring season. And certainly there are a couple options here that provide you with seclusion if you want to get to some place like a quiet lake and do some hiking and paddling. There's also options here where if you wanted to visit, say a city and explore the local food scene or culture, you could do that as well. And then last but not least, I still am a beach person when it comes down to it, regardless of whether or not it's the summertime. I find there's a certain level of peace and calmness at the beach, especially in the springtime months when you get some warmer weather. So I wanted to include one of our other options as a possible easy getaway to the shore if you're looking for some downtime and maybe a beach read by the water.
Let's get into it because it sounds like we are both beach babes. So what do you got for beaches?
Okay, this one is probably my favorite. I've yet to visit. So I will be booking this trip after we talk. So please, listeners, maybe give me a couple days so I can book this one first. This is called the Addie Sea. It's a cute B&B. We're talking like Nicholas Sparks level cuteness. And it's in Bethany Beach, Delaware, which I've been to Bethany so many times with family. I've stayed at beach houses there. I had no idea this existed. And I was recently at a dinner party in DC and just happened to be seated next to the person who took over this B&B recently, a retiree from Washington, obviously, one of the many stressed out DC people who's found a better life in their retired life. But it's really truly a mom and pop owned B&B right on the shoreline. So you are in a Victorian mansion overlooking the ocean with the Adirondack chairs, the wraparound porch, bring a good book, a glass of wine, and you can really lean into that sort of coastal aesthetic that I think everyone is looking for. It doesn't have to be the summer months too to appreciate that you're at the beach. And what I love is that this is smack dab in the middle of Bethany. You really can walk to all of the great places along the boardwalk, as well as the restaurants in town. Again, something I had no idea existed and is quite affordable in the spring months. Obviously, the room rates tend to go higher as we get towards summer months, but in a quick scan that I just looked at, you can get a room there for $199 per night.
What a deal.
Yeah, that's during the week, and then $259 on weekends. Now, again, assuming you have two people, you're doing it for like a long weekend, a friend or a significant other, that averages with gas, let's say we spend about $60 in gas to get there, you're talking about $130 to $160 per person to stay at this incredible coastal B&B that I feel like is just one of the unique destinations we have to offer for the Delaware shore.
I hope people take the time to Google image what it looks like, because it is absolutely giving Nights in Rodanthe, but
Yes.
right here in the DMV, or I guess the Delmarva area.
Delmarva, yes.
Yeah, I would think I was looking at something out of a Nicholas Sparks movie. You are exactly right.
And, I think the best part about a B&B is that you get your free breakfast in the morning. So there again, we're saving some money. We're talking fresh pastries and, omelets prepared for you when you wake up. You can sit on the wraparound porch with your coffee and linger. B&Bs just have this whole different experience from hotels. And if you've never stayed at one before, I highly suggest it. The ADC also has afternoon tea in the parlor from 3 to 4 p.m. So you could do that as well and lean even further into this B&B experience. They also allow you, though, to do as much or as little as you want. Some people don't want to do the wake up and have breakfast with other guests, and they can certainly go eat out in the town of Bethany. But I think this gives you some free add-ons that you don't necessarily get with your typical hotel stay.
I am a B&B person now, but I was not always. The idea of waking up with a bunch of strangers did not used to appeal to me. Now I love it. Now I want to be like, oh, where are y'all all from? And I will never forget the first time I stayed in a legit B&B. I don't know what this says about me. I had never experienced turn down service. So we were out. When we got back to the room, I was like, someone tried to break in here. They came in and did something to the bed. And my friend said, that's turn down service. Get some class.
Turn down service will ruin you, I think. Almost like when you fly business class for the first time, you're like, okay, this is how the other half lives. And those cozy slippers they put by your bed, just all of the little amenities like the chocolates on the pillow. It's a nice little feature of staying at a boutique property. I especially love this hotel because, again, there's some complimentary add-on amenities like beach cruisers, so you can ride bikes around town. They have, obviously, beach chairs and umbrellas that they'll set up on the beach for you. It's really taking, I think, that experience of staying at a hotel and taking it a few steps higher. For the fact that you can do this for under $200 right now nightly is just incredible, given that this hotel typically goes at $500, $600 a night in the summertime.
So let's say that I'm planning on booking a stay there. What are some side quests in the area you might suggest?
Yes. And, since we're budget conscious here, I wanted to think about this even, more clearly, because Delaware is obviously a sales tax free state when it comes to shopping. So when I'm at the beach, if it's a rainy day or colder time period, you can easily get over to some of the outlet shopping at the Tanger outlets that are all up and down Coastal Highway 1. It's really a great opportunity for you to maximize your dollars when it comes to your favorite retail brands. Obviously, go shopping in all of those great outlet malls. But then also, if you go into Rehoboth, lots of great boutique shopping along the streets there. And I think incredible value when you're thinking about being budget conscious and trying to, maximize what you're purchasing. So usually if it's a colder day, rainier day at the beach, sometimes that happens in the spring, definitely take the time to do some shopping. And I think a lot of people travel to shop. This is a great destination to do that as well.
Yes. My first time ever going to the Delaware beaches, we went on a tour of the Dogfish Head Brewery. And then afterward, my friend who was the DD, I guess she was like, wow, I'm so fed up with these drunks in my car, made a pit stop to the J. Crew outlet out there. And it was just it was a very memorable day for me, drunk in the middle of the afternoon, post Dogfish Head brewery tour, just walking around a J. Crew. Great day of shopping, though, I will say that.
I was going to say drinking, then shopping, that's a dangerous combo. Maybe not great for your budget. I would say go shopping first and then hit up the brewery second if you're trying to save some pennies.
Sound solid advice. I do think this time of year is uniquely nice to explore nature because you can be outside comfortably, but it's not too hot. Are there things in the area outdoors-wise that folks should know about?
Yeah, and I'm going to keep this one to Delaware, sticking to our theme and sticking to our budget as well. This is by far the most budget-conscious trip you could take out of the 3 options I'm giving you. And it also revolves around this theme or this idea of going to the cottage, which I feel like is all the rage right now, thanks to heated rivalry. Everyone wants to go to the cottage. And so this is a cottage by the pond. It's in Killens Pond State Park, which is in Felton, Delaware, just outside of Dover. So you would definitely need a car to get here. But for the rental of this cottage, it is only $79 during the week or $89 on weekends. I checked and there's still available slots for March and April, so plenty of options for you. If there's only this one cottage now that's like right on the lake. So if you miss that opportunity to book this one house, you could also book one of their smaller cabins. Those go for even cheaper, $62 during the week, $70 on weekends. So there is sort of a smaller house option there if you wanted to do that. But again, we're well under our $150 budget overall. Huge value when you consider the cottage comes with a kitchen, full bathroom, a queen bed, another sleeper futon, sitting room, but also the comforts of air conditioning and heat by the water. And it's really, you're in the forest, you're right on the pond, which is really a lake, if we're being honest. And I think what's so cool about this is it gives you the immersiveness of being in nature without seeing other people. It's true opportunity to do forest bathing if that's something you're looking into, or you're just looking for a really quiet stay. You do need to bring your own linens. So just remember like your bed sheets, your towels, and some of the kitchen accessories you might use to cook with. You're going to want to bring those. But this is an incredible value for an immersive nature experience where you truly have a cottage to yourself.
Every now and then, Tim, you bring something that I want to give the note of like, let's cut that one out of the podcast so that it can just be special for me because it's very up my alley.
This one is special. Yes. And the cottage, there's unfortunately only one, as I mentioned. So if you're going to book it, I would say get on the Delaware State Parks website after you listen today. I would not wait because I'm sure those slots will go quickly. Another cool thing, though, when you're on the Delaware State Parks website, they have all of these programs at the pond, and it includes everything from birding, which is something cool, and I haven't tried yet, but I'd love to get more into that. They do these forest walks, so they can teach you about some of the local ecology. There's also some night programs where you can go like owl watching, bat watching, and I just think it has a lot of really unique low budget items for events that you could easily tack on. We're talking like $8 a person, $10 a person to do these things. And then also there's always the option for like self kayaks that you can rent, as well as guided paddles if you'd like to go that way as well.
Well, if anybody does the bat watching, it might sound weird, but we have a whole episode about bats in the DMV area. So definitely check that out if you're going to go bat watching. Also, something else about this one I wanted to note is that if you're really trying to be budget friendly, which, aren't we all right now, just bring your own groceries. It's got the full refrigerator and the 2-burner stove. So you don't even need to go out.
That's exactly it. And I think that's the whole idea of a cabin. Like you spend the weekend there, not talking to many people, really focusing on cooking at home, being with, significant others, other people in your life, and really being in nature to the stillness and the quiet, which I think is something you can obviously do in the DC area if you do some day trips or get creative with like getting into Rock Creek Park, perhaps. But ultimately, if you really want to get out there, if you really want to get away, you have to put in a little bit of time on travel. So this is a really high value, low budget trip that I think anyone could do in the coming months.
Well, let's say that I'm somebody who is thinking, well, this all sounds great, but I have no time to get away. How about a staycation for somebody who just wants to stay in the area?
Yeah, I realize most people may not have the time or just too overloaded with the burdens of, work, life, etc. There's a great opportunity, though, I think, even in our community, if you're looking to get away from the city. Old Town Alexandria, to me, always takes me a couple steps back into what I think is like a historic Main Street USA city. And one of our newest hotels down in Alexandria right now, it's the AKA Hotel. It really focuses in on affordability and almost, again, like a boutique property. So you're going to get hotel rates that hover around $150 a night on most weekdays, and then usually up to about $200 a night on weekends. But I think Alexandria gives so much in terms of walkability, those shops that you can do along Main Street, great restaurants, including the ones that are right there on the river with the sweeping views of the Potomac. You can also get on the water taxi and go up and down the Potomac for the day. So I just love it from a perspective of how much it offers me. I live in DC, so I don't always get down to Virginia as much. And to me, it almost feels like a city that's so close to me, but also could be miles away, even in another part of the country or another part of this region. So Alexandria is, I think, our best local city that feels like its own vacation sometimes, and definitely could be a great break if you're looking for it from Washington, D.C.
Yes. So even if you can't get away, you can sort of plan a little staycation right here in the area. Tim, is there anything that I did not ask that you want to make sure gets included?
No, I think I look forward to seeing you maybe at the cottage or on the King Street trolley going to our next vacation.
Yes. Nobody booked that cottage before I have a chance to do it. Y'all heard me. Thanks, Tim.
Well, great to catch up.
Always. And before we go, we've got some neighborhood shout-outs. Aaliyah G wants to shout out Washington Waldorf School, a welcoming pre-K through grade 12 school community with little to no screen time in class and inspiring education. Jennifer P. loves Capital City Circus School, a real DC gem, whether you're just trying out the flying trapeze once as a beginner or an expert. And Bethany G. thinks that people are sleeping on Wheaton because Polo Rico is arguably the best polo a la brasa place in the DMV. And Pho Banh Mi Saigonese is the best pho banh mi place. Thank you, Aaliyah, Jennifer, and Bethany. And if you want to shout out your favorite organization or business, just become a CityCast DC neighbor. For just $10 a month, you get ad-free listening, an extra events newsletter, and so much more. Just go to membership.citycast.fm. That is all for today here on CityCast DC. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell a friend, rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our morning newsletter. And we'll be back tomorrow morning with even more news from around the city. Talk to you then.